We're talking significant improvement to the roster. This should interest you as a Georgia fan. Transfer portal news coming up right after this. That's not how we start.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's Monday. We're back. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. GameTime.co. Download Game Time app. He is Daniel.
Sure.
I'm Clint. This is the convalescence.
A lot of things coming together today.
All the things coming together. Look, your boys survived. We did a thing. We went. We saw.
Yep.
Things were done. We're back.
We did not conquer.
Well, I stopped. I said things were done. I didn't say conquered. But we're back. Today's episode, like I said, brought to you by Game Time. More on them in a second. If you're an everydayer, we appreciate you. Thanks for being here. If you're a longtime listener and a 199 part of the loyal third segment listeners, thanks for being here as well. And thanks for making us your first listen. Not only do you listen every day, but you listen for the first time. We appreciate you. This is for fans by fans, and we're back here every single day talking about the Dogs. We have let me set up what's going to happen for the rest of the quote off season of football, because it begins now. Portal news gives us news all the time, all the time. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about incoming, outgoing. Plus, I don't know if you guys understand this. We got the draft coming up. Guys are declaring. We want to talk about where they're going to go, evaluations for them. And this just in, get in on Mike White and what the basketball team is doing. That first half against Ole Miss was fantastic. We'll talk about them a little later. But Daniel, portal is here.
Also, if I may.
Sure.
Because I recognize this might apply to some people out there. If you're just not that into Georgia basketball, let me say from the bottom of my heart, no one cares. No one gives two craps about that. So you could stop saying it or you could keep saying it. No one cares.
If it's Gurf saying it, I care about you, Gurf. Just so
I don't. Gurf,
he does.
Say something else, Gurf.
Say
lying. A different thing. We're going to talk about Mike White in future episodes.
By the way,
thank you for Tuesday.
Everyone, Tuesday is a big game. Thank you for every single one of you that when we're down in New Orleans came up and said hi to us. Said 199. We have many names.
We didn't realize we would need a notebook in order to take down all the names.
Trevor, Chad,
we were going to shout you out, but we forgot.
Mike, so many of all y'all that were down there. It was so much fun. Even just the quick fist bumps. Run into our boy Brooks Austin down there as well in the casino. Paid for his coffee on the way back home because the boy was taken off right after the game. Which good on you, Brooks. Like that wasn't.
I wish I had taken off right after the game, Clint. To be totally honest with you,
wish I had taken off before.
We're going to jump into transfer portal news. People are tired of the banter. We did hear from a lot of you in New Orleans that you love the banter, but you're a minority. People hate the banter. We know this. Zach hates the banter. People hate the banter. We're going to get right into transfer portal news. Before we do that, Clint, we're late on this, but we record when we record, and Monday episode coming out. But thoughts and prayers to the Smart family. The passing of Sonny Smart obviously is a huge story in the Georgia world, and you just can't quantify, Clint, what this man must have been dealing with as he's in New Orleans trying to prepare and coach a football team in a Sugar Bowl in a college football playoff. His dad in the hospital, undergoing surgery, dealing with all of the ramifications of that, and then the complications of that surgery and coming out of the game, and just what a ridiculously difficult time it must have been for Kirby and the family. And so obviously our thoughts and prayers are with him. There are so many things, Clint, that are so much bigger than football and basketball. And you hate to have something like this remind you of that, but it does.
A rough weekend for a lot of people. The attacks in New Orleans, the Smart family dealing with that. We've talked about this. Sports is a place to come and distract us from the ugly. And so talk like fans do. We enjoy the banter is here because this just in. The world sucks at times. And bantering about sports makes us realize that there's still some things that are good and fun and we can laugh about. So that's what we're here doing.
Yep. All right,
Daniel, let's get
into
in.
transfer portal news. You want to talk about people coming in? You want to talk about people going out? Because it's significant in both directions.
I want to talk about people going out because it's significant for me as we hear rumors of a bunch of things about to happen. I think the people going out is an indication, Daniel, not only of who's coming in, but also about coaching, Daniel. This is significant to me because rumor mill has it. David Pollack announces 30 to 35 players might hit the portal, as well as coaching staff changes are incoming. One of the coaching staff I was asked about this weekend was Jimmy C. James Coley.
Yep.
What is he get? Wide receiver room notably bad this entire year. Worst wide receiving
of
group.
note. I noted it.
We not only noted it, we consternated about it, and we hit walls over it with our head. Jimmy C has a bad wide receiver room. Notable entry into the portal. Anthony Evans' name in the portal. Kick returner, wide receiver. Many people thought that was going to be a big to-do list. He's in the portal. A notable name not in the portal, Tuggle. Daniel Tuggle said, let's grind. He said, I'm back. Let's grind. Let's get going. It seems that he's staying. Anthony Evans is, as well as Jaden Rashada, hits the portal. Now,
let's focus on those wide receivers first, and then maybe we'll get to Jaden Rashada in segment 2. But I do think, and then you've got the news of Arian Smith accepting a Senior Bowl invite, all but, he could have come back. I am so sick of these COVID eligibility things, Clint. When will we know? When will we just get rid of people?
By the way, I'm not. Eligibility is a myth now, and will never be actually. It doesn't exist. Just so you all know,
you should always assume everyone has about 10 more years of eligibility. So there was speculation maybe Arian Smith would want to come back. He's going to the Senior Bowl. Looks like he is moving on. There's still some speculation. Possibly Dylan Bell could come back. You mentioned Nitro Tuggle. As of right now, he's still here. Things can change, obviously, but another one of those young wide receivers. Anthony Evans, a guy that we were really high on, and I think that showed why we were really high around the middle of the year. Really showed out in that Mississippi State game. I mentioned it before, but he was on the field a lot and was utilized a lot. He is a difference maker with the ball in his hands, but wasn't really able to consistently crack the field. And I don't mean to be that guy,
but you will.
But here I am. I've been that guy my whole life, so I might as well keep going. If you can't crack the field when Arian Smith and Dylan Bell are the guys in front of you,
here we go.
That might not be a great sign for your ability to crack the field on a team that I want to cheer for ever. So I'm not, again, Anthony Evans, go be great. That's the official position of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
We will say it after every time somebody leaves.
Anyone else, Arian Smith, going on to the NFL or wherever life takes you, go be great. That's fantastic. Nitro Tuggle, either stay and be great or go be great, whichever one suits you. That's all fine and good. There are obviously incoming wide receiver that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to say this, Clint, that ain't the only fish on the line. You understand?
No,
we got one of them. We got one of them hooks that's got multiple, hooks on it.
I'll tell you this right now, just that it bobbing, just that little fishing pole, it moving.
There's some nibbles out there, and we're going to be the wide receiver position group is going to be active. Now, are we going to see coaching changes? That's probably a topic for tomorrow's show. So we'll save that for then. But the wide receiver room is going to be active. And let's be honest, Clint, we said it after the game. Number one position of need for the University of Georgia. Number one.
Wholesale changes, fine by me. I'm
number one position of need. We have got to upgrade the playmakers on this offense. And we did in a significant way. We're going to talk about that in addition to the quarterback that is leaving the program. All of that and more next on Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
But first, FanDuel. FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcast. Everywhere. Your place to go ahead and bet on NBA action. NFL is gearing up for a playoff run. Go to the FanDuel right now. Sign up. $5 bet. You win that $5 bet. $250 goes into bonus bet accounts right into your account. It's easy, free money with which you make more bets. Very simple.
Simple.
Very easy. Take this just in. Take Ohio State giving whatever points they can. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
But Clint, the team that plays them is an SEC team. They must be good.
Lay the points. Ohio State's really good. Right now, you go to FanDuel.com and you can make all these bets. Official sportsbook of the NFL of Locked On Bulldogs, Locked On Podcast, where Daniel and I only trust the source to use. FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. All right, Daniel, we talked about wide receivers who are hitting the portal. We talked about how if you can't crack a starting depth with this talent and this room on this team, then I don't want you here. If you couldn't push. Tuggle, it seems like, is staying through, developing through. Let's go to the quarterback side of things.
Well, yeah, let's talk about the incoming first, because we talked about wide receivers, so it makes sense we transition out incoming, and then we go Jaden Rashad a third segment.
We'll go Jaden Rashad. Daniel, we said huge need. You just got done saying huge need at wide receiver. A quarterback's best friend, Daniel, is a highly touted, twitchy, fast. Give me the ball at any place. Now, stop me if you've heard this type of receiver before that can play on the outside because they got speed, can play in the slot because they don't care about getting hit, and they got twitchiness in between the 5 to 10 yard route tree. And when they have the ball in their hand, they're going to get past the defense and get going. Everybody last year was lazy to call Ladd McConkey a Wes Welker. It's only because he looks a certain way. Okay.
Yeah. And we don't have to get into what that certain way is, but that's fine.
I stopped. Let me tell you, the incoming wide receiver, Daniel, that we have, Zachariah Branch, the Branch brothers, today, Sunday, have said, we're coming to UGA. We're a package deal, one safety, one wide receiver, best wide receiver in a class that when he came to USC and Lincoln Riley had said, and Daniel, it is a Ladd McConkey, but I don't know. We're going to have to see on the field because Ladd McConkey was a 3-star. That should have been a 4-star. But I'm just going to let you know a name that as evaluators have seen this kid's tape. I'm going to tell you a name of what they see him to be in the NFL. And that's one of Mr. Hill of the Kansas City Chiefs and Dolphins, who is one of the twitchiest, fastest, ball in hand, watch out, touchdown coming wide receivers we've seen in a hot minute. Branch comes on over and says, the legacy and prestige of the Georgia program means they will be competitive and the standard of college football. This is what he said. I'm coming to UGA because it's the standard and the excellence is going to continue for years to come. Daniel, this is the biggest get in the portal that Georgia has ever gotten.
Oops. Yeah, you're not. He didn't stutter and he didn't need to. This is the number 3 rated player, according to On3 Sports, in the entire transfer portal, Zachariah Branch. This would be, if you just take his coming out of high school last year numbers, this would be the highest rated wide receiver that Georgia has ever gotten in the history of the program. And so you're talking about a guy that is already has a pedigree in terms of recruiting prowess and the way he's been evaluated that exceeds many of the people. You're going to pair him with Taylor coming in next year, another 5-star wide receiver, true freshman guy. And now all of a sudden you've got a little bit of, little thunder and lightning combo there for you, Clint, at the wide receiver position. But no, Zachariah Branch, people are going to be all over themselves to make the Ladd McConkey comparisons. And I'll tell you where you're right and I'll tell you where you're wrong. Okay? Now, before I do any of this, let me be totally clear. Nothing that I'm about to say matters as much as what you do on the football field.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladd McConkey did on the football field and is still doing on the football field exceedingly well, like AKA better than most of the receivers in the AFC.
The best receiver of last year's draft.
Okay, so he would win Offensive Rookie of the Year if it weren't for his former teammate, Brock Bowers. Okay, so nothing matters as much as what you do on the field. So Zachariah Branch still has to prove it no matter what. But let me tell you how he's similar to a Ladd McConkey, and then I'll tell you how he's different from a Ladd McConkey. Okay?
Go ahead.
Similarities are that this guy gets open because of his elite ability to change directions on the football field. You call it whatever you want. You call it twitchy, you can call it route running, you can call it getting in and out of breaks. You saw it when you go watch the tape of the Ladd McConkey cone drill from the combine last year.
That's when you knew this cat is unlike anything else at this year's draft. You saw the cone drill, you saw how quick he got 5'10". The shuttle was unbelievable. You're telling me Branch is similar to that?
Yeah, no, I'm telling you that Branch, that is his game. Like, that is absolutely who he is. And so the ability to run routes, you play him in the slot, you play him on the outside. He's only 5'10". Ladd McConkey, also a bit undersized, 6 foot. Ladd McConkey, 6 foot, 185. Zachariah Branch, 5'10", 175. And so they're pretty similar in terms of size. What Branch lacks in height, he makes up for in his ability to jump more so than Ladd McConkey and go up and high point the football. But neither of these guys are going to win with raw physicality or like elite size. That's not who they are. They're going to win the same way that Tyreek Hill wins, the same way that, like the guys like this win. They're going to win by absolutely putting defenders' jock straps on the ground because of their ability to get in and out of breaks and run routes. So that's how they're similar. Now, I ask you this, Clint. There's a lot of fire Mike Bobo out there. Okay? I've heard a lot of it. I've heard a lot of fire Mike Bobo out there. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you a simple 2-part question.
Okay.
Part 1. Did Mike Bobo have a guy like that on this year's roster that he could go to?
Nowhere near him.
None.
Not even like class 1, class 2, class 3. It was class 1 and then maybe class 4.
None.
Maybe.
Last year, when Mike Bobo did have Ladd McConkey on that roster, did it work out pretty good in terms of production?
Ladd McConkey, when healthy, was an absolute game changer that opened every. You want to talk about 14th in the SEC in rushing when you have Ladd McConkey on the outside and you can't load the box with another safety because one has to stay on top of his side all the time? Yeah, it opened things up.
Mike Bobo used him and used him well, and he did so to the tune of a really productive season, lest you forget last year, Georgia fans. The team was undefeated going into the SEC championship game, and then a 3-point loss to Alabama kept us out of the playoff, which was absolutely insane. So Mike Bobo's got that guy back. Now, let me tell you how. Let me stop the Georgia fans who are going to be quick to make this Ladd McConkey comparison. And again, nothing matters except what you do on the field. But I am here to tell you, Clint, that Zachariah Branch ain't no Ladd McConkey. He's way faster.
No, there.
Like,
gentlemen.
He's, way faster. The comps that make sense are not to Ladd McConkey. They are to guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Like, these are the guys. He's faster than Jalen Waddle. Zachariah Branch he ran a faster 100 meters than Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. Now, guys, I want you to imagine this. Cass Jones, damn good dog, did amazing things for us.
Sure.
Very happy. When he caught that open touchdown.
And fumbled into the end zone.
That's right.
But imagine Clint, he caught it, which is more than I can say for some people.
I can't. Imagine Gunnar Stockton playing the game, looking over and saying, I want to test out what this right arm can do. And Branch going, okay, try to outthrow me. Go ahead.
He won the state championship in the 100 meters and
Thank you
the
for getting this.
200 meters.
Daniel, the time.
Yeah, he ran
Now-
a 10.33.
10.33 and a 21.
Yeah.
21 in the 200. Like, y'all.
He's very fast, but he's also very twitchy, so he's got that elite top end speed, but he also combines it. That's where the Jalen Waddle comp, to me, honestly, makes more sense than the Lad McConkey comp. Georgia's got an elite wide receiver. Now, Zion, his brother, coming over as well, has had some injuries, has not had the career, but the safety position, a position that we are going to need depth. And I would not be surprised at all if Zion Branch is a contributor on this Georgia team. But make no mistake, Zachariah Branch is the most important transfer portal pickup in the history of the Georgia football program.
Y'all,
period.
It's not we said wide receivers had to improve. Kirby Smart, the weekend after his father passed, is back in the building and getting the top wide receiver you can get, the top wide receiver you could have gotten last year. And now he gets him here in Athens because he wants to continue. Huge get. We're going to come back after this, let you know about quarterback room and what it means going forward. But first, this. GameTime.co. Download the GameTime app today. GameTime.co. It's a place where Daniel and I go to get tickets for concerts. He went to a concert. It was a lovely time that he had over there.
Yeah, had a great time.
Vegas. It was fantastic. Down on Broadway, Daniel's favorite place to go.
I wouldn't say that.
He loves it. Don't let him tell you otherwise. Also, Game Time gets you in right away because you have the little slider button. You slide it right on over. It tells you everything. Taxes, fees, everything all included right there before you get to check out. It has the best price guarantee. If you find a ticket that is cheaper, they're going to give you 110% of what you paid because they guarantee lower price. Great customer service. Game Time app. Download right now. Put in promo code Locked On College for $20 off your first order. That's Locked On College. $20 off first order. Promo code. Download the Game Time app today. Get in the game with Game Time. All right, Daniel, we talked about wide receivers. Talked about outgoing, incoming. News is going to be plenty going on. The most significant portal use that Kirby Smart has had. And by the way, just really all y'all complaining, we don't get the wide receivers. We can't do it. Bobo coaching won't attract any. Now,
2 5-star wide receivers on the roster right now.
Now, what do you want to do? Now, what do you want to do?
Well, they'll moan about something else.
I guarantee you they
will. I promise you they will.
Okay,
but they'll find a way.
They'll find a way.
Jaden Rashada.
Yeah.
Is in that portal.
He gone, Daniel. He's on his third.
I hardly knew ye.
I
just barely remember you at all.
Yeah, that's right. One time Miami, one time Florida, one time Arizona State, one time Georgia, now back in, likely going back to Miami is what we are hearing, but who the heck knows?
Never actually went to Miami, just committed to Miami for a minute.
Committed to Miami. I apologize.
Here's the big story here, Clint, is that all year there was this weird conversation among Georgia fans, like, is it Gunner or is it Rashada? And now, hindsight being 2020, like it is, we realize that the conversation should have been, is it Ryan Puglisi or is it Jaden Rashada, who's the third quarterback on the roster? And the answer to that question turned out to be Ryan Puglisi. We saw it. I mean, you heard Kirby say it at the Sugar Bowl or after the SEC championship game. You heard him say Puglisi was ready to come in as the next.
We talked about the Kirbanese. It's right there. He tells you. You might not like how he says it, but he's telling you.
He made a mistake. The man made a mistake, and he let something slip that he did not mean to let slip. Because he was then asked, in preparation for the Sugar Bowl, he was asked who the backup quarterback is, and he patently refused to answer like he always does. He would have never revealed that information willingly.
No.
But you heard him say it after the SEC championship game. And then when you're at the game, your boys just pay attention. And you notice that when Gunnar Stockton is warming up, the guy that he's warming up with is Ryan Puglisi. He's throwing the ball with the two quarterbacks that are warming up are the 1 and 2, Gunnar Stockton and Ryan Puglisi. And so you have a situation where Jaden Rashada transfers in.
Mhm.
People wonder, is he going to compete with Carson Beck for the starting job? No,
what
he's
some of
the
y'all said.
fourth string quarterback on the roster.
Yeah.
So now Carson Beck obviously gone to the NFL. He is the third string quarterback on this roster. And people are, I'm just here to tell you, if you think if you think Jaden Rashada transferring is a loss for the University of Georgia, you're a fool. Like, that is absolute foolishness. He's the third string quarterback on next year's roster.
Oh, no.
And there's talented quarterbacks coming into the program like hand over fist every single day. We'll probably take a quarterback in the portal.
I was just going to say, now all of a sudden, we at one point had 5 deep wide receiver room. Carson Beck's injury off to the NFL. Now Rashada.
Quarterback room, you mean?
Quarterback room, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, we're probably going to add depth somewhere, quarterback-wise, for next year's
imagine
club.
we will.
Not in high school rankings, but in the portal. Daniel, Rashada leaving is an indication that what we heard and saw, Gunnar Stockton and Puglisi are very similar dudes. They came in and they said, we're not going anywhere.
We're here to work.
Remember, Puglisi was a one-time signee with now Kansas City's Chief Junior over at Nebraska, thinking he's just manner of another man beside his own man, Dylan Raiola. And he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm signing. I'm a top 11 quarterback. I've been to the programs. I know what I'm doing. I'm highly competitive. And just this, I'm not just a try-hard. I can ball. And that's what everybody's been saying. That's what everybody's been talking about. And Jaden Rashada said, oh, no, I can't compete with that. I don't want to
work. I want to be given something. And that, again, it's not our job to like get on here and like bash a kid.
Nope.
Right? Like, obviously.
Rashada, go be great. There it is.
Yeah.
Standard.
But it becomes very apparent that like we had Puglisi on the show like a year ago, and the kid just wants to work. Like, that's all he wants to do. Same mentality you mentioned as Gunnar Stockton. You got Ryan Montgomery coming in now as an incoming freshman. You're going to maybe go to the portal and add somebody for depth, but these are your two quarterbacks, Georgia. Right now, these are your two quarterbacks. And Clint and I both said after the game, as distraught as we were and frustrated as we were with many things that happened in that game, both thought Gunnar Stockton in his first career action against an elite defense in Notre Dame. Elite speed, athleticism, scheme. I thought he performed admirably well. I think he's only going to get better. I think he's only going to grow from that experience. And Ryan Puglisi going into next season, again, seems to have just keep his head down, keeps working hard, and is going to be getting all those number 2 reps. And you know, as well as I know, Clint, there's no better way to get better than to take reps at a Georgia football practice.
There it is.
That's how you get better at football. And so I think the future's bright for the Georgia quarterback room. Again, Jaden Rashada, go be great. Not saying that he won't be great somewhere, but it was never going to be Georgia. And so Georgia fans, don't get all bent out of shape. It's a quarterback, but he's not our quarterback. We've got our quarterback. You've got it.
Jamie Newman called.
And he said, I'm not interested in anything but signing my name to a piece of paper and then signing it to a different piece of paper. Not it. I don't want it.
Not interested. He is Daniel. I'm Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow talking more portal news, coaching staff, all that fun stuff. We'll see you guys then.
See ya.